All right, guys, welcome in. Everybody over on YouTube, we're going to get set up for a gorgeous little painting. It's going to be fantastic. Let's see, we're going to come over here on TikTok. We're going to go down just a littlest bit. All right there. That's going to look good. So, if you've never seen me before, I'm Paint with Josh. Welcome. Right here, Paint with Josh. We got the 3 P's of painting on the shirt today. So, these shirts are available in my store, along with the hats. You can go get all the stuff that you need to just be Paint with Joshed out, right? Get all of the merch that we offer. I've got beanies, I've got hats, I've got all sorts of stuff. So, we've taken our 16 by 20 inch black canvas, and we've covered it in Bob Ross liquid clear, right? It looks a lot like this. If you've never had this stuff before, get yourself a jar. It's awesome. You put it on the black canvas. And if you don't want to support the Bob Ross Corporation, right? I get a lot of the stuff sent to me. It gets purchased off of Amazon, so wherever it comes from ends up at my house. And but if you don't want to support the BRI Corporation, that's your choice. And you can use linseed oil as a replacement, right? So if you had, or maybe you live in a place where you just can't get the Bob Ross stuff. So go find that linseed oil, and it's just as good. Just makes our canvas nice and slick, right? Everybody always asks me, is the canvas wet? Do you let the background dry before you start? Everything is wet. We teach a wet on wet technique over here. And check it out. Also, brand new 3 P's t-shirts. This is the blue and silver one. And then we've got, showed you guys, I told you I was going to show you the pink one, right? The blue and pink 3 P's t-shirts. These are awesome. They don't say Paint with Josh anywhere on them, just the 3 P's. So if you want to support the store, you don't have to buy a painting. You can always go and get some low dollar stuff, right? Some cheaper stuff. Now, we're going to have a gorgeous little waterfall. And this one is number 750. But unfortunately for you, it's already sold. It's already sold, done, taken out of the shop. And it's sort of a commission painting. Melanie purchased it and wanted to have it be a certain color. So let's get out here with our red. All right, our little crimson-y bit. Maybe add a little bit more crimson to it. Maybe even a little bit of our just bright red, right? And that's really going to brighten up the color. Add that crimson-y red to it. Literally going to blend it out. We're going to use our big old cake pan moon. And we'll do a very cool waterfall off down into a seascape. It's going to be awesome. So, stick around. Tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? And we're just going to go load up. Maybe we'll get a lot of blue, a lot of crimson onto our brush. And then maybe on this side, we'll put our purpley section of our moon in with that blue and crimson. Just mixing them both together, right? Got to mix them up together. And they make this gorgeous purpley color. You got to have every single piece of our canvas covered with some sort of paint, right? And that way when we go across it with our white color, just our white paint, then it's really going to shine through and be gorgeous, right? There's a little bit of color in there. Our little seascape back in here. We're going to have this gorgeous pink and purpley landscape scene with a giant waterfall coming across our big moon, maybe a tree poking out into the moon. And then it's going to come down and land into this ocean scene. It's going to have a big giant seascape. We'll see where we go, right? We never know exactly what it's going to look like because I'm literally making it up right along as we go right here. So if we're going to do a seascape, let's take like a little of our green, phthalo green, blue color. Maybe we'll put the eye, maybe we'll put the face of the wave down in here and just have it change, right? Just like that. Not a giant crasher. But something sort of crazy. Leaving that area dark right there. Right? Just having that little bit of our undercolor on our painting. It's going to blend in. It's going to do all sorts of cool stuff. So, if this is your first time watching a Paint with Josh video and you're like, this dude's crazy, he's all over the place. I'm just trying to go a little quickly so I can show you guys what the whole scene's going to look like fast, right? If we add a little of our blue, a little bit more of our crimson, come into our water, we'll have this back like purpley water back here. Be so neat. Or maybe that's still part of the sky. You never even know with a Paint with Josh paint. I don't even know what it's going to look like until we do it and we get done. So if you want to buy more paintings, I have a lot more paintings available for sale. Let's see. We've got this little pink one available. Same size, going to be the same size moon, sort of the same color pattern as the one we're going for right here. So that one's available in the store. We can set that one down right there just while we're painting. And maybe we'll change it out, show you some of the other stuff we have available too. Take some of our blue again, a little bit more blue down here so we have a difference in our water. It'll be purple and into this bright blue color. Very cool. And let's put a little bit of sand down underneath. Just in case, we'll take a bit of our dark colors, our 2 brown colors, and we're going to put them down underneath here. Not trying to cover everything, right? But just in case we get a little piece of action or we can save some bit of the water, we'll have a bit of sand down here. It's gonna be a gorgeous little scene. So, remember guys, tell me where you're watching from, what's your favorite sandwich, and, oh no, the 2 moons got perked. Just hang on, let's see. What do I do with my iPad now? Guys. Wow, here it is. Haha. I was like, there's no way I didn't bring it up. Let's go look at this old sucker right here. Whoop, whoop. Right there. Let's see, pull up the old store. And bang, 250. That's the one that we got before, but I don't see any new purchases come in, so let's hang out. Maybe we'll get a new little cha-ching noise come from the phone. Let's just see while we finish painting this one, right? Again, you have other, well, so apparently they're claiming this one's already been purchased, but if not, we'll just keep it up here for the minute, right? Just so you can see its gorgeousness. Now we've covered our blue, we've got our crimson, our blue, our purple, all mixed in all along the canvas in different areas, right? Making this gorgeous little thing. It's gonna have all these little differences in color, depending on where we put our white paint. Everything's gonna show through all crazily and bright. It's just fantastic. So, last time guys, tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich? Make sure you go follow me over on Instagram, and the link is in my bio if you're watching over on TikTok. The link is in my bio along with the YouTube channel, right? Go check it out. I'm literally simulcasting this over to YouTube right now. And that way you'll be able to rewatch the stream big and wide on your TV. Get to see more of old Paint with Josh, right? I know, nobody wants to see me. They just want to see zoomed in on the painting at all times, and that's it. Nothing else. So, let's put our paint thinner away from your drink cup, right? I found that if I put my paint thinner or my odorless mineral spirits and my drink cup next to each other, I almost want to drink one of them, right? So put them separately. And that way you won't want to reach in there and try to drink it or dip your brush into the wrong cup. You ever dipped your thing into your coffee? Dipped your brush into there, right? That's no fun. That's no fun. So make sure you separate your cups. That's tip number 1 for Paint with Josh. Separate your cups. Very cool. Okay, now, what we're going to do, we're going to see where you guys are watching from and check in. Let's see what kind of comments we got over here. Where are we watching from, guys? Where are we watching from? Got everybody over on YouTube. Got 8 people watching, but no one's liked the video yet. Come on, guys. Give me a thumbs up. Watching from Richland, let's see, Arizona, Philadelphia, Ohio. Let's see, Cherry from Tampa. We got Washington State, Scotland, Arkansas, Oregon, West Virginia, South Texas, Maryland, Ontario. You guys are awesome. Just nailing it with all these different places in the world. Just fantastic. Now, in order to do a giant moon, right, we're going to take a bit of our white, and we're going to get out the old Paint with Josh cake pan. Right, pulling our white down just like this. We may need to get some more white out of the old paint box. If you're like, what does the moon pan look like, right? It's an 8-inch by 2-inch cake pan that I've taken, put some stickers on. We actually got a new sticker. We should cover over that, right? And we're going to decide where we want it, right? This one's going to be very big, and I'm not going to show all of the moon. So let's come up here, and we're going to place it. And depending on where we put that undercolor is where it's going to show through. Right, so maybe on this side, we're just going to very lightly go around. Same amount of pressure all the way around. It'll give you the same circle, right? That's pretty much all we need for that section of our moon. We don't need much else, right? Because we're going to have a big old cliff all on this side. So, starting from over here, start grabbing it and you work it down at the little angle, just like that, right? Work it down, and it gets darker and darker and darker as it gets away from its bright side. And it feeds itself all the way back to the dark side. Now, we have some paint on the brush, right? But what am I using? What am I deciding? How far the paint's going to swipe is based off our amount of what? Can you guys tell me? Can you tell me what we're trying to do? The amount of... Let's see, I'm going to give a follow to somebody who knows it. Pressure. Sugar D's kitten right there. You get a follow from Paint with Josh because you know the second P of Paint with Josh, which is pressure. Why do I have white paint on the tip of my finger over here, guys? So remember, go over, follow, go over and check out my Etsy store, paintwithjosh.etsy.com. And just with the amount of pressure that we have, you can very lightly pull it over to the side, come over here, right, just like that, coming down, coming down, coming down. The more we go over to the edge, the less I'm touching the canvas, the less paint, and we've got the darker undercolor over here, so it's becoming darker and darker and darker all on its own, right? All all based on our pressure. Just like that. That's very cool. Leaving it black on the edge like that. Now I want to come around just so lightly. Sort of take our color, blend it away from the edge of the thing. Now remember, we're going to come in with a big old cliff. But our waterfall is going to fall down, so we don't have to finish the whole moon. Right? That's the best part. Just going around the edges, trying to grab the very edge of our bright line and pulling it back. Right, turning our brush, matching those angles. Even got to turn it again. Can't even hold it with my own hand anymore. Right, grabbing it up to the edge, pulling over, pulling over, pulling over, pulling over. Same little angles that we're working in, right? And that way it'll drag over. The more you push with the brush, the more paint you have on your brush, the brighter it's going to be. Some places will be brighter, some places will be darker. Right? And now we got to soften it. And we don't want to have all those brush strokes out there. Kind of looks like Jupiter though, a little bit, with all those brush strokes out there. And I like it where it's nice and soft. So I clean off the brush, into the old beater bucket. Right? Gonna beat the devil out of the old brush. And then we're going to come in and we're just going to take a 1-inch brush. Same thing, coming up here with the light amount of pressure, we're just going to soften the paint. Right? Bringing it down, same angles, those same little rounded strokes we were working with before. Right? The more you push, the more it's going to want to drag, and the more it'll mix in with the color underneath. So we just want to be very light little touch, right? All these light little touches, and just around the edge, as close as you can get. Wrap it around, and then pull it back and soften it, right? All you got to do, just like that, guys. Cool little moon. I'm going to leave mine getting very, very, very dark, so we can come in and then decide where we want to pop in our little bit of cliff, right? I have old cliff in there. There we go, very soft. We decide what we want it to look like, just like that. Very neat. So, well, there we go. It shows that it's processing right now. So apparently the 2 other paintings are gone. Thank you, Melanie, for buying those paintings. You are amazing. And you just got, with this one and those 2, the 3 big moons I painted this weekend, you just cleaned up. And these are all discounted, guys. They're all discounted from what they normally are. This size, I'm going to be doing I'm probably going to do 10 paintings this weekend. This is going to be the second one. I'm going to paint all night long. Going to come back and keep going live and keep going live and keep going live. And we're going to paint a lot of paintings this weekend, so there'll be a lot of chances for you to buy, and they're all going to be the same price. This size, the 16 by 20, is I think it's $210 something, $210 and some change. And the bigger size, the 18 by 24, right, which is a little bit bigger than this one, right, just like that. That size is $227. I don't think I've ever let one go for $227. But I figured I'd do like a special today in the old Paint with Josh Etsy store. We'll do a special. We'll do everything for the same price rate, right? And there's other paintings in there that are much cheaper than that as well. They're a little bit older, and they're a little bit less expensive, and they're Paint with Josh classics, right? They may not be as good as the newer ones, but they're classics. I just found one actually in the bathroom at work the other day, and I'm looking at it going, why hasn't that ever sold? And I go look in my store. I never put it in the store, you guys. Like even when I very first painted it, I never put it into the store. So I don't know what I was thinking on that day, but I took that painting and I listed it into the store, so it's available if you guys want to go check it out. It's like 16 by 20 inch Smoky Mountains, and it's called a PWJ Classic because it's a little older, right? Just like that. Very cool. Very cool. Just changing it, pulling our dark color over here, softening that little bright line, right? Blending it in. Very neat. These cool little things start happening out on our little planets. Knock the paint off of the brush. Don't even need to dip it. So let's take a drink before we do. Just run out of. My mouth gets so dry doing these little doing these videos. I'm telling you. I always forget to take a breath. So let's come in. We're gonna grab up the old palette. We're gonna spray in some stars like Bram does. Right? Sometimes you can paint in a star, and then sometimes you just want to have that little random pattern of like that galactic galaxy out there, right? So I'm just going to put a little bit on the end of the palette, and then come up here, and you see how I'm angling it towards the thing? Like this. You throw off little teeny tiny things, and then move. Don't get stuck in one place, right? Move, and you get this random pattern of stars all out there in the distance. Very cool. Adds depth to the moon. and everything else. We don't even need to put any over here because we're going to have that big cliff. But just like that, guys. You do one too many and it becomes too bright. You won't like it, so don't do too many. All right, you get a couple little stars way off in the distance. Can you guys even see those on the screen? Tell me where you're watching from. Oh, yeah, perfect. You can see them excellently on the screen. Look at that moon. It's getting deep and dark as it goes back there, right? Again, you can even take a clean, dry brush or dab our brush off and pull some of this darkness back in. Right? Say we wanted to have a little deeper, darker color. Remember, we're going to come across this area with a cliff, so it doesn't matter. I'm really only worried about what that dark line looks like when it came down like this. Right? And we decide what we want it to look like. And then again, you can take it over again and slide the color back. All depends on you. Right? Dab it off. You don't even need to clean it. Just dab it off on a paper towel. Watch, we can slide that pink color back. Slide it, baby. Slide it. Just like that. So it's just kind of at a different place all over the place. Okay. Now, in order to make up a giant section of mountain, what we're going to need to do is come over and let's see. Yeah, both of those paintings have disappeared from my store. They're no longer there. So thank you, Melanie. You're awesome. And I'll get them packaged up as soon as they dry. And you know, you bought like tons and tons and tons of my art. You're like a godsend. I love you. And I'll pack them up and I'll get them sent over there. And I don't know, I think she's opening up her own gallery over in Tennessee with just Paint with Josh stuff. Or she's reselling them. She's got to be running out of wall space at some point, right? I love you, Melanie, for buying all that art. You are just amazing. You've literally helped me so much. And just from buying with this one you purchased and the other two, I can go say yes to Bailey. And she asked me earlier today, Dad, can I get some new shoes? And I was like, oh, Bailey, I don't know. And sales haven't been going so good this weekend. I don't know. And then bam, Melanie comes in to save the day, and now I can go back and tell Bailey she can have new shoes. That's awesome, right? I come over here and then mix up all of our dark color, and we just got to come in and decide. And we had it way out there, right? And it came in out over here, out over the moon, and then it fell down just like that. Perfect, right? Didn't even need to waste time with too much of our shadows, but I'm glad we did it at least up here. You can see that the moon is rounded. We have that little bit of darkness down in there. And now what I'm doing is just covering the canvas with the dark paint to make our crazy little trippy mountain. Doesn't even need to go all the way over here to the side. It really doesn't. We've blocked out all of this stuff. All right, now we come down and maybe our little, yeah, right about there. Oh, yes, guys. That's going to be cool. That's where the water's going to start, right? So, in this other painting, we've got some little bit of water, and the water's going to come out, and it's going to just flow down the edge. Right from here, it comes out just straight down this mountain, right? So, let's do our water first, and then we'll be able to go back and highlight. And all I'm going to do is mix up, not even mix up, just gather up a little bit of white paint on the tips of the brush. Don't need to load it all the way up to the squeezy bit back here, whatever this piece is called. Do you guys know what this is called? Because I have no idea. It's the squeezy bit to me. It holds in all the bristles, right? We're going to come in, I'm going to turn the brush sort of on an angle like this, like we're going to chop at the canvas, and it's going to be very thin. And then we're going to come out here and start to drop that water over the edge, and then you just let it fall however you want, right? Come in like that and go, woo-hoo-hoo! That is pretty, but I want it to be a bit bigger. Bang. We'll add a little bit more paint, right? Maybe it came down over here, and it hit. Right, if it was starting to fall down, it hit, fell down again at that other little place right there. Pull it down, let it end up in a whole bunch of fog. Oh, that's going to be cool. A little place where it was flatter right there. And it came down and then hit again, right? Very neat. Very neat. Now we're going to take our brush so lightly, pulling it down, right? Very couple soft little things. And then this is where we decide, do we like that little place where it hit, or should we just have it continue all the way down? With the amount of what? The amount of what is deciding how much, right? We already know the amount of paint on our brush. It's going to come off and it's going to flow down. Right? So when I go to mix it in, the amount of press, what? What is that word that I'm looking for? Do you guys know? Because I'll give you a follow. First person I see, it was Brittany right there. Brittany, you're getting a follow. She got 39 followers. And now Paint with Josh follows you. Isn't that amazing? Just for knowing the second P of Paint with Josh, which is pressure. Right? Get our little waterfall to come off, and look down here. We're just going to start to mix up that little bit of mist into some mystery, right? What's happening? Where does the waterfall come down and hit? Well, we're not 100% sure. Maybe we can take a little bit of our white and just mix it up, smallest little bit though, teeniest, tiniest addings, right? Just like that, it's falling off, it's coming down, it's hitting our little bit of wave. We don't want to have too much paint back there, don't want to have too much detail. Very cool. Now, what happens if we took, there was a little bit of that crimson-y color over here, and a little bit of our white, and we'll make this like kind of not super bright, but it's going to look bright when we go to put it up here, right? We'll do these little bits, kind of drop our little bit of pink off, and we'll come down here and have these little flowers that kind of hang down the edge, right? Come in, make them, kind of mess them up enough to where they look like little things that are dangling over the side, bit of grass, bit of something. Maybe it came down at a different angle over here. And then all of a sudden we can see there's maybe a little place where somebody could climb up, right? Or, if you don't like the grassy look, look at this. Pull it down very lightly, right? Up to you. Leave those dark areas though, please. Please don't get rid of the dark areas, guys. You need them. Just like that. Slide it down. A little bit of pressure. Darkness, 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 right? Same color. Why don't we try that again? We're not going to add the flowers. We're just going to do it the same way. Right? We wanted to see some color come down in here, so we start to dab at it. Maybe we come over that way. Maybe we come up there. Right? All just wondering what's going on. And then we're going to come in with our brush. Same brush. Haven't washed it. Look at all the color. It's all dark. All crazy. Right? Maybe we had, as we start to slide it down and slide it back, or wrap it around, you decide what you want these little rocks to look like, right? Pull this guy off to the back, slide him down over here. Maybe he wants to get really close to that waterfall, just really close. We don't want to let him touch though. Sliding it down, coming down in, right? All these cool little rocks, pulling off the other way very lightly, so we just deposit a little bit of paint, keeping the dark areas very dark, right? Very dark. Sliding our little bits off. All this mysteriousness. Where's that water coming from is what I want to know. Right? Where is it coming from? Now, what's really cool is we're going to take our liner brush and we're going to grab up a bit of our odorless mineral spirits. I'm going to be right back to the canvas, so don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Just going to get a little of our odorless mineral spirits just to help make the paint come off of the brush a little easier, a little thinner, right? We call it thinner for a reason. It makes it thin. Right, now what if we had just this gorgeous little tree coming up out of here? Right, get all these little branchies. Cool little thing, right? But if you don't have enough thinner, it's not going to come off your brush. If you don't have enough paint on the brush, it's not going to be dark enough. Imagine that. It's not going to stand out far enough, right? Now, here's a really cool thing. Especially when the trees are very far away, right? You don't have to have so much detail on them. What you do is you get a little bit, maybe we can do this all in one go. All right, we get a little of our crimson, just a little bit of our deep dark crimson, maybe a touch of brown, just to have them stay that dark, shadowy color, right? A couple dabs into our black, and now we got all these little bits of color on here. Maybe we'll come up and just tap in little things, right? Where is it going to be? What's it going to look like? It's not going to be very bright because that's our shadow of our paint, right? You don't want to have all the brightness up here. That's the deep, dark shadows. And you can't just have only bright areas out in your tree, otherwise there's no depth to it, right? No depth, no distance. Now, with the other end of the brush, say we use it just the one corner. Let's come into that crimson, and we'll come into our white, and we'll dab them in just on the other corner, right? Now we've got two different colors, and we'll come in here and just tap in a couple little bright areas into our tree. It's going to make it look like the most sense. Don't try to get it exactly the same as the other color of our thing. Look at that. That's very cool. A couple little dabs, right? Don't need anything special, but you got to have that deep darkness under there, right? If you just went up with the pink dabs, then there's no shadow or anything to bounce it off of. And that's very cool. That is very cool. I like that one, guys. A lot of times I like doing trees that are just sticky and branchy, but that one is very neat. And again, with the amount of pressure, like someone said earlier, right? The amount of pressure, we decide how far we want our mountain to go, how far you want the waterfall to fall down, right? You can have it go all the way down, or you can have it and leave room for other things. You pop in a little meadow, put a lake in there, do whatever you want, right? I'm going to add a little seascape to it, because I think that's going to be fun and it's something that hasn't been done, right? So even though Josh does seascapes a lot, never done one like this with a waterfall and a little tree off in the distance with the big moon and the stars in the sky. You guys, it's just gonna be fantastic. So, now, we've already taken our crimson and blue back here. Remember in the beginning, put a little crimson back in here. Maybe we got the eye of our wave over here. We'll have to decide what we want it to look like now that we've sort of lost it. We'll come down. Why don't we actually take our blue and put the blue up a little higher, right up in there. And that'll be the eye of our wave. All right, we'll just adjust it just a little bit and change it. You guys might not even be able to see that, which is totally okay. Now I gotta clean my brush again. I had a nice, clean, dry brush, and I went and messed it up. I gotta want to have it be clean because we're going to be going into the white, and the white is going to be lighting up everything else that's underneath. All right, so we're literally going to come into the white, pull it down, the white, the titanium white, right? Come in here, load it up onto our brush, and we're just going to do a couple little things, just basically side-to-side pulls, and you can see it. It'll start to light up, and I want to leave a disconnect in between the rock itself and where the water comes in, right? It's kind of shadowy back here. We don't have to add a whole lot. Not pushing on it very hard with our details, right? And then slide it back just like this. That is a cool one, you guys. You're like, what are you talking about? That doesn't look, I mean, it sort of looks like water the way it is now. But what I like to do is soften it. And if you've been a fan long enough, you'll know. Gotta soften it, gotta trust the process when it comes to Paint with Josh, right? Gotta trust the process. But look at that little dark separation in between the two colors. That's what you need, right? Even in here, little darknesses add little cool little things. Very neat. Just like, it's literally it. You just painted the whole ocean right back there, just like that. Take this guy, pull him down at a little angle. Maybe it'll look like a little far off wave back there. Very cool. All right, and then you go back and highlight however you want. So in our instance, maybe our wave is going to come up like this, and it's going to come down and crash, leaving all this mystery. And then maybe, who knows, I love doing the little double crashers. It shows more depth in the wave if you do a little double, like that backside's already hit, the front side's rotating down, and then we're going to take our wave, it's going to come back here, down like that. We don't need to worry about it too much, and I'll fix that later. Got to come back and do this section. So let's switch over to a smaller fan brush. Grabbing up our little white on our brush, just like that. Little teeny tiny fan brush so we can make small little details, right? And we need to do our little mustache. Actually, let's do two little mustaches. What if we come back up here like this? Up, down, right? That's one little mustache, way off in the distance. Take this guy, slide him pretty much straight back to the side. Maintaining his little rounded feel. That's all you gotta do. Okay, take our brush, very lightly, stretch him out so he blends in with the color underneath. Becomes less bright and shows the movement of the water as it's coming in towards us, right? Then you go back, you can highlight and do whatever you want. Now, here's the fun part of doing these little double mustachers. If you come in with the next one, don't want it to be too big. Why don't we come in like this? Right? Come off like that. And then you can take this guy and add just a little bit of flick back into him. We start rotating over to the side. Remember, as you get further over this way, you gotta start rotating, and I like to have them be a little round. So let's come down a little bit more of a mustachy bit right there, right? Come up, slide over. Keep the underside dark though. That's what you want to see. You don't want to see any brightness down under here. Underneath this white line, it's got to stay dark, right? Just like that. Now, this thing, we're very lightly going to sling it back and leaving our little dark separator, that next little line. That's one more piece of water coming in. Right, this guy, pull off like that. Pull over here. Just letting it get softer and softer, maybe adjusting it down just a little bit, but we don't want to have too much color, but we do want to have that little rounded mustache look, right? That is the look. Leaving that little bit of darkness in there, that looks very cool. Come back in here. Maybe we had that little bit of white pop up right there. Just changing our little peak of our wave. It's a little different action now. Maybe this guy even rotated more back here. Again, just sliding down. You get more little details back there. And we had this guy come down, sliding over here. And this side we're pulling down in different directions, so you get two little different things that are happening. Leaving our darkness, leaving our bright areas, right?
And that way, you get all these neat little details for Melanie to look at. I'm already jealous, Melanie. I'm going to buy it back from you and keep it. I'm going to buy it back from you and keep it because this one's looking really cool. Just really neat. All right, now here comes the fun part. Okay, we're going to load up the brush again. Load it up just like this. Come in here with our, come up a little higher with our wave there. There we go. All right, and then we'll be able to flick over and rotate. Let's do that part now. Just with the end of the brush, just the corner, rotate down, bam, right there. Turn the brush, come off a different way, leaving little things as it flies out. You see the angle change as well? From over here, it's almost going out straight to 9 o'clock, and then we're going to like 8:30, 8, 7, 7:36, almost straight down with that little rotational flick, right? And over here it's like 5:30, 5 to 4. Don't go too far. You don't want to rotate over too far with these little guys, right? Go too far, it's not going to look good, and that's going to be the end of it for you. There we go, there we go. A couple little things, just like that, guys. Very cool, very cool. Right? You can even go higher if you wanted to. You can go off the thing. It doesn't all have to be, maybe we'll do another painting on the side where it's just spray of the water, right? And you'll be able to mix all that in, but we leave it nice and dark on the side. We'll be able to come back in. Look at how that wave pushes that second piece out. Right? Come in here with our white, load it back up one more time because we got a little dirty over here. Grab onto the tip of the wave, start to pull it out like that, and then just let it slide out just a little bit. Now from here, we're going to be flicking it back, right? Just like that. The more we go, the more paint we have on the brush, the more pressure that we push. Let it slide out. Very cool. I just did this gorgeous little seascape earlier in my earlier show today, the Saturday Sessions show over on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. I'm sure everybody was there. And this one's going to have even more details in the wave. Different little angles, different things happening, right? Very light pressure. Again, that pressure, guys. Just think, every time you go to touch the paint, it's going to want to move. So with any amount of pressure to it, you're going to push it too far. Right? Don't drag it too far, get too close up to that little darkness. That's our little shadow that's underneath our second bit of wave that's rolling up. These guys are all coming in line, right? They're all in line to come down and crash at the base right here. 1, 2, 3. Got to have those little separators all in between, right? Very cool. Now, what we need to do is take our dark brush that we created this whole big mountain with all that dark color. Just mix it up like this right here. It's already mixed. We're just going to add more to the brush. And then coming underneath, we're going to start to slap up into our wave. Right? So we stay around the edge of our eye. Coming down, and we make our little S-shaped curve like we always talk about, right? It's got to have that S. And if you don't know the S-shaped curve and you want to see it, you want your seascapes to get better, you got to use that S-shaped curve. And if you don't know what it is, I can show it to you. But you got to let me know that you guys want to see it. If you don't want to see it, then we won't waste time showing it, right? So let me know in the comments. Do you want to see the S-shaped curve? Or do you already know about the S-shaped curve, right? That's the question. Show us! All right, I'll show you real fast. Yeah, I wrote it on the back of this other canvas, right? Now imagine we had an S. Everybody knows what an S looks like. Right? You draw an S. Now take the tip of the S, stretch it out that way. Take the tip of the S, stretch it out this way. And all of a sudden you have this very long S, right? Well, doesn't that look just like this right here, this dark line right underneath our thing? You get that S-shaped curve. So when we talk about the S-shaped curve, you're taking the tip of the S's and just stretching them out, right? So it's like this. That's an S, just like that. Almost, if you almost continued on, you'd have a figure 8, right? It's half a figure 8. But I call it the S-shaped curve. Very cool. Now, I need to light up my little eye before we forget, right? So we're going to take a little bit of white and dab it in there, but we don't need a whole lot. It's going to be so blue. Oh, look at that. Just so bright blue. The more paint you put there, the brighter it's going to be, right? Then we're going to work on our what? We're just very lightly going to touch the top just to soften it, trying to keep that little dark. All right, we got 2 questions to answer. We got pressure and a dark what? So who are we at? Let's see. Pressure, Teresa, I see you. Right there, you're getting a follow from Paint with Josh. The dark what, guys? What am I asking for? That dark, oh, we got Lisa Atkins. We got the Prestonator. The dark separator, that's right. Right over there. Dejuana Skio. That's a. You almost got me with that name. That's funny. That's funny. I'm not going to repeat it, but that was hysterical. At least you're getting a follow from Paint with Josh. Not only because I like your name and you almost tricked me into saying the whole dang thing. That would have been funny. But yeah, you know the 3 P's of Paint with Josh. And that second P, of course, is practice. Look at that gorgeous bit of blue back in there. Just so fantastic, right? Take a little bit. I can't get over that guy's screen name now. It's so funny. There we go. A couple little bits, like it's just starting to roll over. Now we need to attach a little liquid white to our brush. Just by dabbing in a little liquid white. Now we're going to come over here and go into our titanium white as well, just like this. Just getting it on the end of the brush. Right? Nice, just like that on both sides. Now, you can imagine as this starts to fall over and rotate, we need to crest up above the tip top of our wave up here, right? So we're starting above the shadows. The shadows are actually down underneath my brush. I'm not even touching them right here. We're starting to slap, and we slap, and we slap, and we slap a little harder just until you get one to come up over the top. Right? Now we're going to turn the angle of the brush, and we're going to ride these shadows all the way down, girls. Ride it down, right? But you have to leave half of our shadows, right? So I'm not covering all. We're keeping that dark separator. That's what our shadow is that dark separation. Right? So we come in here, and we start slapping. We turn the brush over. But we're only on to the top half of the shadows, and we're up into the bit of water where it's crashing down. And we come up in here, and we get all this craziness that's happening, right? And we decide, you want to have it come up? Let's say it came up and it hit way over there. It just starts mixing all kind of craziness. But we have to have a bit of a darkness in there with it. So mix a bit of that darkness right over the top. And then I'm going to show you just how awesome and easy it is with our 1-inch brush. No paint on the brush, just based on our pressure. And come in here and watch this stuff. That liquid white really wants to grow so far. All right, so the more you touch it with your brush, the more it's going to mix, the more it's going to want to grow down, right? Look at all that spray, leaving some areas nice and thick and textured, so they look like little bits of water, right? And not every piece has to be the same. It's all falling down. It's going to come down and just hit somewhere right down there. And then we can start to feed it back up into our wave, right? All this bit, we're going to take and push down like that, and we're going to pull it to the side. Bing, bang, boom, just like so. Get this little soft, little beachy action back here. It's very cool. Come back on the top, add in a couple little bits of spray. Oh, you know what we can do too? This is a very neat little technique I figured out the other day. And look how it's almost like our waterfall mist and our spray are almost interconnected. Right? I want to have a little bit of darkness in between. Don't want to connect everything. But your eye is going to be like, ooh, what is that spray? Is it part of the water or is it part of the waterfall? Who knows, guys? Who knows? Not even Paint with Josh. Now, let's take our little bit of liquid white again on the end of our liner, our fan brush. Spread it out real thin because you don't want to go crazy. And even in here, right, we sprayed our stars in. So in here, we can get away with just a few little bits of spray, just like that. Right into the foam, right into the spraying water. You get all these little miniature details that are just for the buyer, right? And throw a couple right in there. Oh, perfect. I love that. Oh, I love that. All right, now let's wash the liquid white off of the brush. You don't want to have liquid white on your brush when you go to do this next section. We'll be right back. Just got to wash the brush. Come over here. You guys are going to tell me where you're watching from. What's your favorite sandwich, right? And come in like this, mixing up our little bit of white, pulling it down onto our brush. Now we get to do the foam. So wherever we started, right? Say we started back in here. We just start sliding back, just straight back though. Make it very level. Don't have to worry about it too much, right? Maybe we stop right over here. Look at how blue the foam is because we've got a lot of blue underneath, right? Now we're going to pull out to the front. Here we go. Got to pull out, guys. Got to pull out. Down here, just like that. Sliding it down, adding more paint. You don't want to have it too short back in here. It's not going to make sense. You have to pull it out and come over here, right? Go like that. Oh, this is going to look very cool. Now, we need to go load the brush up again because we have a little bit of dark color. Actually, you know what we can do? Because we have that darkness, it's already mixed in with all this blue. It's going to keep it dark back here. So we're going to want to go back, and then we're going to rotate up. We don't want to rotate up too quickly. You have to pretend like there's a little ball back in there. Right? Got a little ball. You're going to go up. You're going to go back, and then you got to go up. And that way you keep this little dark area right down in there. Right? Very cool. That's all the deep, dark shadows. And you don't want to have too much color come up and touch our bright eyeball, right? That's deep in the shadow of the wave. So let's come over here. We're going to load the brush up again. And now, if we come out here and we start kind of matching our rotations, as we go out over here, we're going to go further and further and further to the side and further up. And look at it change into that blue. Wicked, you guys, right? Take this guy like this and match him down at the same little angles. Now we got our cool little bit of wave, just like so. That is so cool. You know what? Actually, let's do this cool thing I was going to try. Wrap it around like that, right? It's basically like taking our little thing like this. So we're going to connect all those pieces of wave back this way. Let them flow back, right? Wrapping around. Look, just like a clock. We're going to rotate the rotate the brush around, rotate our angles, pulling it down just like a clock would at every single thing. And look how it lines back up if you do that, right? Now it's going to look like this. Everything is rotating around this wave and this water. And then we can bring it out as far as we want to when we get down there, right? Everyone's going to be a little bit different, so don't worry about what yours looks like or anything. Plus, you can always go back and add more color and change it, brighten it in areas that you want, fix little angles, right? Get our little bit going up here. All based on you. It's not my painting. It's your painting that we're trying to do. All right, I'm just there. I'm with you. I'm chilling here with you while you're doing your painting. And by the way, guys, you guys on TikTok, you're going to be able to go over and rewatch the stream on YouTube. As soon as the stream is done, it's going to be up there on YouTube forever. So you'll be able to go over and learn how to do a seascape painting just like this one, right? It looks like we're missing a bit of our spray right in here. So I'm going to take a little bit of our liquid white and just tap up. There we go. I don't like it all to be the same, but it almost looked like it got forgotten about right down there. A couple little things coming down, smashing, even leaving that little triangle of darkness down here because the water's hit back here, but it hasn't hit over here yet, right? Very cool. And so simply and easily. Yours is going to be different too. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about what it looks like. Yours will be different. It's guaranteed to look different because we're not both going to grab the same amount of paint. We're pulling the same directions, right? So don't worry about it, man. Just like that, sliding it off, getting rid of all these little brush strokes. Same thing though, with our lines. Going down, turning our brush, coming around, coming up into the wave, pulling it down, coming over here, rotating down, right? Having that little thing look like it's rounded up. These guys, we can start to curl, adding a little bit more brightness to it, right? All depends. Just don't try to cover up your eye too much. The eye is the best part of the wave. That's where people are looking. So you don't want to cover that with too much paint. Pull this guy out like that. Very cool, soft little seascape. All these little dips and humps because we have all these differences in color, right? You don't want to have it all be the same. At least I don't. That's not what I want. I want it to be like it's got a little hump here and there, and the water's wrapping around like it's going to flip and smash down again. That's fantastic. Man, that's fantastic. Oh, my neck is killing me, you guys. Okay. Now, what we need to do is come in and make our gorgeous sand. And when we do a painting like this, when we got the brown underneath, I love adding the crimson sand. So let's take a bit of our crimson, a bit of our white, and I mix it up and get this nice pinky sand underneath here, right? So maybe let's start back here. Let's say underneath the moon, right underneath. We're going to go 1/4 inch right underneath our next brightest color, leaving our little what, guys? What's this thing called? It's called anybody? We just said it earlier and somebody got the follow for it, right? Our dark what? Anybody? Anybody know? Over here on YouTube? Hi, Peggy Sterling. What's happening? Hey, Jackie Cass. I hope you separator. That's it. Dark separator, Cosmic Lighthouse. But I already follow you, so I'm going to follow Whitney Benson. And Jackie, did you hear me talking about in the earlier show? This is your palette that you sent me, girl. We're using your palette. Let's see. Add a little bit of color back here. Maybe drag little teeny tiny sections of that color over into the wave so it looks like we have this little lip. It's starting to come down in there, right? So cool. So finish our little sand down here, 1/4 inch underneath. Don't want to come too close up to the color. You have to leave that dark separation in there. Otherwise, you got to go put it back in, and that's a big pain in the butt. So we're going to take our brush just like this and grab up into the center, start pulling down. And this is the biggest mistake I see beginners make, right? First, they lose their dark separation. All this color becomes that color, and you don't have any differences, right? Secondly, this is how you leave it. And you go, okay, my sand's all done. Well, that sort of looks like Aurora Borealis to me. or it looks like a cliff, like the water's going to come and fall down, right? So what you do is you take those vertical swipes, pulling them away from your wave so you don't dilute our dark separator, right? Making them horizontal, just like that. Not trying to pull this foam into this color yet. Just trying to keep our dark separator, but look at the difference in between those two, right? This does not look like sand, this does. So, now we're going to come the other way, pulling this guy. Doesn't really much matter, right? And if you get too bright down in your corner, you can always go back and add in some darkness. I'll show you how to do that. All right, but we're going to come up to here. Now I'm going to start like a sequin pillow, pushing this light color up underneath the dark color and trying to make that little dark separator as small as we can get it without having them touch, right? And when you can do that, it looks like your water is floating. It's sat up and it's sliding on top of the wet sand down there, right? And I told you, if you wanted to add in some more dark beach, just go back to that same dark color. You can mix it up with your browns if you want, but just mainly the dark color. I love having the corners nice and dark in my paintings. And of course, the beach wouldn't be wet in every way all the same, right? So I like to have a little bit of wet area, a little bit of dark area. Hey girls, I'm doing a live show. I can hear yous. Girls are funny. There we go. A little bit of shadow behind the bit of the wave. Very cool, guys. Very neat. Now, I'm going to put a couple rocks. Now, you know what? I really like how this one doesn't have any rocks to it at all. But maybe I guess it's up to Melanie. She's the one that bought it. So, Melanie, what do you want to see? You want to see some more rocks? Or do you want to see just a wave in the crashing sand? You got to tell me. You're the one that bought the dang thing. So, you got to tell me what you want to see on it. And then we'll try to paint that into existence, right?
Dad,
Yes, love.
I accidentally dropped nail glue and it got in my eye.
You dropped what?
I got nail glue in my
You
eye.
got nail glue in your eye.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, guys. We have an emergency. We have to leave. Thanks. I love you. I love you guys. I'll come back and finish later.